Bakers across the world practice the ancient art of creating the perfect croissant. Luxurious layers of buttery perfumed dough, crispy, crunchy, dark brown exterior. It's like a bakery swan song. But even after over 100 years of making croissants, does perfection actually exist? Which brings me here, Paris. Today I'm on a mission to visit the most influential bakeries in Paris to find arguably the best croissant in the world. So to begin, we've divided this into 3 categories: the most popular bakeries, local legends, and finally, modern reinventions. But most important, whichever all butter croissant is the best tasting will win the overall competition for best classic croissant. If there's gonna be a place where the perfect croissant exists, it's gonna be here. We're not doing this alone though. We need a little bit of help from Adriana. She's a Paris croissant expert. She's eaten every noteworthy croissant across Paris while running tours here for Eating Europe. It's actually one of the top food tour companies on the continent. No big deal. She selected the best croissants from 20 of the top bakeries and pastry shops all over Paris. We have a big task ahead of us. Less talking, more eating. Now for our first stop. We're at Maison Isabelle, one of your favorite places, if I'm not mistaken. When you approach the bakery, you can smell the butter in the air, which is amazing.
So this is an awarded croissant. There's the best croissant competition taking place in Paris every year. And Isabelle won it in 2018 when she opened the bakery.
What are the guidelines for winning best croissant in Paris?
So of course they will judge it first after the shape, the aspect, the regularity. But there's the flackiness, the chewiness, and that melt in the mouth taste. But then you also want it to be like very buttery and very flavorful, the smell.
Toasted butter, brown butter, salt, toasted wheat. It really smells incredible. So cheers.
It's a nice way to start a day, right?
So all the guidelines that I'm judging this off of, exact same as how they're judging it. I'm also adding the additional element of like, how does the honeycomb structure look? Immediately you can see it is beautiful. Super classic, but here's the thing. If you're used to eating croissants in America, this is very different. The first thing you experience is the crunch. It's a very wispy, crispy crunch. It's crazy. And then the inside's super soft, luxurious. It instantaneously melts in your mouth. It's buttery, it's rich, and it's nicely seasoned with a little bit of sweetness at the end. Very nice. I'm gonna give that an 8.5 out of 10 for our stars category and classic croissant. It's a twofer. We're starting up here. I don't even know how it can go up. It's either just gonna stay up here or it goes down, and I don't expect that to happen, so moving on. Our first croissant of the day, and I unfortunately ate the whole thing. You know, and we only have like over 20 croissants more to go, so I'm gonna need to start pacing myself here. The next one isn't just a big star in France. There are other things that are big here at Philippe Conticini. What we are tasting here is one of the world's largest croissants, arguably the largest, arguably the only, one of the most famous chefs and pastry chefs in Paris. The first chef to bake a monolith of a croissant that weighs 1 whole kilo.
With this giant croissant, he really wanted to preserve the quality and make sure that the croissant still pleases the Parisian palates.
Well, we'll see. I'm gonna treat this croissant like any other croissant. It just happens to be extremely big. This is so big that I can't hear my right ear talking. It's blocking the sound waves. I don't know who this dude is. I'm showing it off now. There's crunch, not as much as I would like. Making something this big usually means that you have to decline on quality. I was so shocked that it was still quite good despite its enormous size. That said, I think in terms of like deliciousness and quality of just the croissant, it's like a 6.5 out of 10. It's above average. But in terms of experience, it's a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, look at this thing. You have to go here if you're in Paris. You have to try this. Now I need to figure out what to do with the rest of this. Moving on to a big one, Panade, one of Adriana's favorite spots and apparently a big treat for me. She says Chef Merouane is an expert at both classic and reinvented croissants.
You're in the good place. The best croissant in town. Did you already see this?
Look at the gloss.
Amazing, wonderful, like me. This one.
Wow.
This is with raspberry jam.
Raspberry.
inside.
Boom.
You broke it.
Oh.
Oh, Joshua, turn.
Oh my God, oh my God. This is a 10 out of 10 experience. First up, reinvention. His bicolor raspberry jam filled croissant. I mean, look at this thing. Unbelievable. The raspberry jam isn't overly sweet. It tastes like very natural raspberry puree. It's excellent. And it also doesn't hide the fact that the croissant still has its buttery quality.
Look, look, look. Look what the cameraman do. So now it's your turn. Turn.
But let's not forget the most important thing, the classic. Oh! This is the best honeycomb structure we have seen, I think, ever. I mean, it's literally perfect. What kind of butter are you using in this?
This one. You know AOP?
No.
It's the best.
Wow. So soft. But the exterior holds its crispiness. The inside's buttery, well seasoned. The dough is very nice. Might have been our best one. 2 amazing croissants. Truly a hard decision. I love Chef Marijuana. He's so sweet. Honestly, I want to be his best friend. So this raspberry croissant, let me tell you something. This is a reinvention, but it was so incredible. This is a big 9 out of 10. We now have a reinvention leader. Now look, it's a reinvented croissant. It can win that category, but I'm also worried about the overall competition for best classic. So maybe this one will take the lead. This croissant was incredible. Classic yet new, everything you want in a croissant and a little bit more. I think this deserves a powerful 8.9 out of 10, making this the new classic lead. But we're just getting started. And if this is an 8.9, could we find a possible 10 out of 10? Moving on.
So now our stop, it's called Poilâne. It's a 3 generations family-owned business since 1932. What's special about the croissant that you're going to taste here is, one, it's still shaped in a crescent moon shape, and it's baked in a wood-fired oven.
So what's the difference between the crescent and the straight shape?
Crescent shape used to be a sign that it's made with margarine, and we called it the ordinary croissant. But nowadays, most people would use butter, and it's a lot easier to just like keep it straight.
This place is incredibly historic for a specific reason, which is why I'm excited to meet the owner at Bologna to learn about one of the oldest functional ovens. I mean, literally a piece of history. Not fueled by gas, not fueled by electric, but fueled by wood fire.
We've been here since 1932, so we've developed our bread baking tradition with this. For the croissants and the pain au chocolat, not necessarily the easiest.
You're baking those in here too?
We bake everything in here. So we bake the bread, the pastries, the cookies, and the viennoiserie. And the difficulty is, of course, that there are variations in the way that the oven reacts.
This has got to be one of the only, if not the only one left.
By and large, people are not very excited about using this because it is more work and more attention.
Right.
But the difference in flavors is pretty incredible too.
I can smell the difference in the bake. Borderline smoky, fresh wood fire smell, campfirey, but it's also buttery, toasted butter. She said she likes to eat the little parts first, so I'll start with that. So the end piece, nice and crisp. Could be a little crispier, but still crisp. Now the inside, although it doesn't have the crunch, it has another quality to it, which is ultra soft, ultra buttery. The honeycomb, I think, could be more intense, but salt levels are good. I think it could be a tad sweeter, but all that said, there were a few issues with it. It wasn't very crispy. It wasn't quite as airy as I wanted it to be. And truly, I love the story, and I think this place is a necessity visit for anyone who goes to Paris, just because it's so beautiful. But to be the best in Paris, I don't know that I can give this above a 6.5 out of 10 for the locals category. A lot more to look forward to, though. Our next spot is a bit of a secret. It might be the most acclaimed local bakery in all of Paris, right across the street from an incredible chocolate manufacturer, but there's an important cultural purpose here that makes their proximity that much more special. So why the hell does that matter? Who cares? Chocolate over here, croissants over here, so they're making chocolate croissants? No. We'll get to that in a second.
The French have an entire culture around eating the croissant. You either eat it for breakfast or for the goûter, which is a little afternoon snack. The best way, of course, to eat it would be to pair it with a coffee, a cup of tea, or with a hot chocolate. We get our traditional croissant from Terroir d'Avenir, and just across the street we have Plaque. This is the best way to try your croissant.
Although I'm trying this with the hot chocolate, I'm judging the croissant as a standalone. I just want to see what it's like with the hot chocolate because that's tradition here. First, let's look at this all butter croissant. So if you look at the internal structure of this, the honeycomb's not really that present. It's much more compressed. This one is nice. It melts in your mouth. It still has the crunch that you're looking for. They put, I think, a tiny bit more sugar than the other guys, and I actually like that. My only complaint would be maybe the crumb structure could be better. A lot of people dip it. Oh my God, the chocolate is amazing. One of the most layered, diverse hot chocolates I've ever had. I will say, look at the cross section. It's not drawing me in, but the butter flavor was huge on this. That's it. The texture left me wanting a lot more, and I feel like there are so many other pastries that are buttery as they are, so we're looking for a croissant here. To me, this was a solid 7 out of 10 in the local category. Moving on to L'Eclair de Génie, but first, a brief intermission.
I'm a big fan of you.
Oh, yeah. You literally are a big fan. Yeah.
Christophe Edon is probably the most notorious eclair creator in the world. Recently, when he opened his cafe, he decided to introduce a croissant that it's baked a little bit like an eclair. All of a sudden, it's no longer the simple, traditional viennoiserie. It turns into a pastry.
But he also has a classic one, so we're gonna try that. The reinvention will get its own rating, and then the classic will be entered in the overall competition. Anyway, we got a fun fact alert. That's right, sound the alarms. Before we get into this, you need to understand, a lot of people might think all croissants croissants are pastries, but that's not necessarily true. They're called viennoiserie. That word translates to in the style of Vienna. It's because according to Adriana, croissants only came to life in France in the 1830s, when the crescent-shaped bread rolls came here from Austria and mated with laminated dough seen in pastries like millefeuille and tarte tatin. And viennoiserie only becomes a pastry when sweet-focused chefs like Christophe Adam get creative. So he does have a classic one, but I'm more interested in these pastries, more specifically the raspberry pistachio. It's got weight to it. Very unexpected. Unbelievable combination, the pistachio plus the raspberry. Now, as delicious as it was, I did enjoy it. It was super overwhelming with all of its flavors. I could barely taste the croissant, which to me takes some points away. Flavor-wise, honestly an 8.5 out of 10, but overall experience, a 7 out of 10. That said, we have to try the original. Crunchy, buttery, seasoned really well. So obviously the reinvention category is its own thing, but this whole overall competition of the best croissant, this one is up there. This is a tough one. It's delicious. It is crispy, but it was lacking a little bit of crunch. It was lacking a little bit of salt for me. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Still a worthy and far above average croissant. This is just the beginning, and we're gonna see some of the most unusual, innovative croissants I have ever seen in my entire life, including one from the most famous pastry chef in the world. A lot of people know who they are, and there's a lot of scrutiny on what he does. But we'll get to that in a second. Moving on to croissant number 9, which is truly one of a kind. And I'm not just eating, I'm cooking. Well, not really. Okay, so we're at Boulangerie. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry, you do this.
Michelak.
So Michelak.
Yes. The chef's name is Christophe Michelak. He's one of the most famous chefs in France. He makes this pretzel croissant, which is his signature, and it's probably like one of the best croissants that you're gonna taste on our tour.
Just by looking at it, I already want to give Christophe a kiss. Look, he didn't give me any kisses, all right? I made my own pretzel croissant. It's really basic. He gave me a strip of laminated dough, spiral it into an escargot snail shape. They freeze it, bath it in a mixture of water and baking soda and salt, top with sesame seeds and bake. Look at this, a pretzel croissant. I'm impressed. They do not sell normal croissants here. They only sell this and pain au chocolat. I like that kind of behavior. That's rebel mentality. It says, we're reinventing this. We're doing it the way that we want to do it. So we've got the pretzel. This is a reinvention. It's obviously not a classic, and yet it does have a lot of elements of the croissant. It's crispy. It's well browned. It smells of toasted butter, but does it taste like a pretzel? Whoa. This is my speed right here. I've been eating croissants all day. When they start tasting the same, this brought me back to life. It's buttery, it's flaky, it's rich, it's a little sweet, but the crunch, you really maximize the crunch without losing the soft inside. You get that flavor of the pretzel, that toasty flavor. What I love the most is the little pops of salt. Brings it all together. It's salty, buttery, it's very punchy, powerfully flavored. This is probably my favorite bite I have had today. They managed to capture what makes a croissant great while reinventing it and making it special. It is a reinvention, it's not a classic. Experientially, this is a 9. Boulangerie Michelak ties Panad's Raspberry Croissant for first place in our reinvention category. They're gonna be very hard to beat. The next spot, we should be honored. He is considered to be the Picasso of the renowned macaron. So why is he in a croissant video? This is Pierre Hermé. With the simple black on white, just text on the wall logo. It screams, you know who we are.
We're gonna try a croissant that is made with his signature flavor that he uses for the macaron called Ispahan, which is a mix of rose, lychee, and raspberry.
This is one of the prettiest looking croissant that we've gotten. It's so simple. The coloration, dried raspberry crumbled on top. It's glazed, which gives it a totally unique look. Whoa. So good. This is a totally different experience than any croissant we've had all day. I might as well try a little bite of this just to compare. Yeah, I'm gonna eat the whole thing. One of the best macaron I've ever had. But we're not rating macaron today, okay? We're rating croissant. Overall, this might be one of my most favorite croissants I've had in my whole life. It's glazed with a hard shell exterior, just like a glazed donut would be. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but it makes so much sense. It seems so obvious. This is how you do a fruit filling. Super raspberry forward. It's sweet like it should be, but you don't lose that beautiful buttery flavor of the croissant. I've eaten like 40 billion croissants today, and I ate half this. Am I gonna regret that physically? Yes, I regret it right now. But emotionally, I'm happy I did it. I'm giving this an almost unheard of immediate 9 out of 10, which leads our star category. This might be one of the best sweet croissants I've ever had in my life. We're only 10 croissants in, sweetheart. Let's turn the heat up. Actually, maybe I pulled the wrong lever because it's fucking raining. The next location is commonly confused with some hotel. No, this is the one and only, the Ritz Paris Hotel. But what's the big deal? One of the fathers of culinary helped found this place in 1898. Who could it be? Auguste Escoffier. Quite literally one of the most important people in food in human history. This isn't a joke. We're not f***ing around here. But they're not done. He invented mother sauces, brigade systems, cuisine that will continue to live on forever. And they're still going. Being led by 2024 World's Best Pastry Shop Award winner Le Comptoir, whose chef Francois Perret has one of the most unusual looking croissants I've ever seen, and it is all butter.
Je dirais que c'est le plus américain des croissants français. L'intérêt de ce croissant, il n'est pas compliqué. L'objectif, c'était de pouvoir le manger facilement. C'est le croissant du futur.
I like the practicality of this. This is gonna be a consistent experience all the way through the croissant and also makes it easy to dip. Good honeycomb structure, especially with how small this is. This technique creates more surface area for crunch while retaining that super, super soft, buttery inside.
Chef Perret really likes to call himself a purist. We're not far from a traditional, like ancestral croissant. It's just the shape that it's different.
It's layered nicely, it's soft, you've got that crisp crunch on the outside, slightly sweet, not too much. This is balanced, there's salt in the dough, the butter flavor is present, it's toasted beautifully. But what I love about it is the crunch is incredibly consistent and really, really good. So really, it's not a reinvention of the croissant. It's just a maximization of the best qualities of a proper one. This might be one of my favorite ones on the whole trip. I've been eating croissants all day, and this is the first one that is a plain croissant that's actually stopped me in my tracks and made me rethink, okay, finally I'm getting a new experience while maintaining the original product. I could easily eat multiple of these. Easily a 9.1 out of 10, which makes it our new leader in both the star category and the overall competition for best all butter croissant in Paris. I truly believe this is worthy in comparison to the other ones we've had. I mean, it's unbelievable. Moving on. We're 9 stops in, but my mind has been opened in ways I could have never imagined. Finding one winner, it's gonna take work. Sure, I might have to eat 30, maybe 40 croissants to do this right, but croissants are a lifestyle. They're a passion, and we will find the #1 croissant. How are we gonna find a winner here when so many of these are so good? We judge things on 3 things: texture, flavor, and appearance. Each baker here has their own specialty, their own talent. They are all great for different reasons. But that doesn't mean we're not gonna find the best one. Moving on. We're going to another unexpected one. You'll almost never see this in France. It's very odd, honestly.
So our next stop is called Boulangerie Saint, which means savors natural ingredients. We are going to try one of the only sourdough croissants in our selection of croissants today.
Well, the first thing I noticed was that it smells incredibly good, obviously, but it smells totally different than any other croissant that we've had. Let's have Chef Anthony explain it.
We don't use refined sugar, we only use honey. It's honey from buckwheat.
This retains the crunch better than the other croissant that we've had. Flavor-wise, that buckwheat honey is incredible, really special. We've had a lot of different croissants. They all kind of have a consistent flavor. If you're just looking at a plain butter croissant, this is the first butter croissant that has almost like a new flavor to it while still maintaining the original flavor that I really like. It's almost like a plum-like flavor, but it's very subtle. I love the dedication. It's truly a lost art. A very strong 8 out of 10, which leads our local legends category. I don't know that the ancestral old school way of doing things is what's gonna take the win here.
This is Laurent Duchesne's pastry shop and bakery. And you can see from the sign outside, it says Meilleur Ouvrier de France. So remember when I told you that the French like to give awards? This is a competition really for excellence in the trade of cuisine. He's a pastry chef and a chocolatier. So the croissant that we're gonna taste here is a croissant with chocolates.
Immediately, this is one of the butteriest ones I've smelled all day. Holy moly. There's actually a chocolate paste.
And you have that like cocoa inside the dough. This is interesting because you have everything. The croissant, the pain au chocolat because you have the chocolates, and it's sort of like a version of almond croissant because of like the chocolate praline inside. It's like 3 in 1.
And then the normal one. You can see the honeycomb, it's actually quite nice. Salt levels are really nice. Butter, very present, not greasy, nice and even, a little bit of sweetness. It's a little bit chewier than what I am looking for in a croissant. I don't know that this is the best one I've had. Now the reinvention on the other hand, I don't know why the dough is so different than the original, but it retained the crunch better. The flavor of chocolate is unbelievable. It's not just inside the croissant. They made sure that it wrapped all the way around. Every layer has a little thin band of chocolate dough. For the chocolate croissant, I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. That takes over second place for our reinventions. Now for the all butter, this one was very tasty, but it wasn't for me. I don't know, something about it just wasn't hitting. I think it's a 6.3 out of 10. The bar is very high for our next spot, Moon. I mean, that's it. I like it. I love simplicity. They only make croissants, so we might be looking at our winner here.
What you're gonna taste here is a savory croissant. So we're still in the category reinvention, but savory.
The star of the show, it's got ham, it has cheese, and it smells good. I took it off, but there was a toothpick with the pickles in it. Perfect bite. The quality of the ham is so nice. It's meaty, it's not too thin. And then the cheese adds a little bit of funk. It adds some salt, really clean. By far, this is probably the best ham and cheese croissant I've ever had in my life. And you have your little pickle to cut the richness. Let's look at this all butter croissant. They're still very crispy. They're not dry at all. Melts in your mouth wonderfully. The butter flavor is present. The scent, sweet, not because of sugar, but because of good butter. The pastry itself, really nice.
The ham and cheese comes in at a 7.9 out of 10 that takes over second place for our reinventions. And they're all butter croissant, an 8 out of 10. Great, but not our leader.
So our next stop is called Du Pain et des Idées. It was opened by Christophe Vasseur more than a decade ago. He's definitely the pioneer of modern bakeries, even though it's a very nicely decorated late 19th century bakery. And we're gonna taste what they call the authentic croissant.
The one we're really here for, the classic butter croissant. Can you tell us why this is the authentic?
Because of the process. In France nowadays, only 15% of craft bakeries still make croissant themselves. 85% is industrially processed. When you do it yourself, it has to be at least a 2 days process because a dough has to age for at least 24 hours. That fermentation brings extra flavor.
Earlier, we were gonna bring out the fresh croissant, and he said, don't do the fresh one because it's easy for a fresh croissant to be good. And he got an old one because he's like, it's that good. And I gotta say, it's really, really good. This is the most tender, melt in your mouth croissant we've had on the trip. It's got the classic flavor that you're expecting and you get the age off the dough.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate authenticity and doing things the old school way. A powerful 8 out of 10 in our stars category. But like I said, I don't know that the old school methods are gonna be our winner. There's a reason that people keep reinventing and pushing the boundaries. Next, we have Pépite. We're seeing unique flavors being infused in these, like black sesame from Chef Alice Lin. This is a very rare and unusual croissant.
What we have here, it's a black sesame cream on top and a black sesame ganache. And you have a very good example of a Franco-Asian croissant.
Even their normal croissant looks really beautiful and it smells very buttery and yeasty, which I like a lot. The inside is honestly the highlight. The inside is so stretchy and moist and chewy. It's a little sweeter too, but I like it. It's very nice. Okay, so this is the heaviest croissant I have ever held in my life because it's full of black sesame cream. I don't even know how to eat this. This is gonna be messy.
Yeah, it might be messy.
It looks cool, but this is very unpractical. Whoa, I love sesame. It adds a rich nuttiness that I think really plays well with the croissant. Super rich, super creamy, and not overly sweet. Honestly, quite light considering there's probably, I don't know, 1,000 calories in that one croissant. I gotta say, when it comes to a croissant, I prefer simple. There's a lot going on here. I think one bite and I'm happy. I don't want any more. The croissant itself is very nice. I would not come here for this. I would come here for the black sesame croissant and I would share it with maybe 2 or 3 people. This is unique because it's got that toasted sesame, and I think that's what really makes this special and worth the trip.
The black sesame comes in at a 7.5 out of 10 for reinvention. In the classic croissant, a solid 7.5 out of 10 for the overall competition. Delicious, above average, but I'm looking for a little bit more.
That said, we're moving on.
You see this place? It looks very unsuspecting. The giant trash can out front, it just kind of blends in with everything. You may have no idea that this croissant may be our overall winner. Maison Doucette.
This is the #1 croissant in Paris. They won that in 2024. I'm actually kind of surprised. You could easily walk past this and have no clue you're walking past possibly one of the greatest croissants of all time. And we're about to try it.
The stakes are high. Can they overtake our current leader, Ritz Le Comptoir? They're gonna have to be better than a 9.1, which is extremely difficult on my scale usually.
Smell test, impeccable. It's like 50% butter in your face, 50% that nice sort of almost alcoholic fermentation of bread scent. I'm gonna start with the crispy end first. Completely different texturally than pretty much any of the other croissant that we had. It's got almost like a bready chew. I love that they were able to maintain that and still have this nice flaky, airy inside. A lot of time when doughs are chewier, it means that they're lower hydration, they're more worked, it's much harder to create these beautiful layers, and they managed to maintain that. The dough is seasoned perfectly with salt. Honeycomb's nice. It does melt in your mouth after you've chewed it for a while. I do wish this was crispier, but the parts that I did eat that were crispy were very nice. I think this is up there in terms of quality with many of the other ones we've had. Is it the best one in Paris still?
This is a hard decision, but I gotta be honest, I was really confused. It was good and far above average for sure, but the best? Listen, I got a warm croissant, it was crisp, but I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10, which means Ritz Le Comptoir is still our overall leader, but that doesn't mean they can't be dethroned. Our next spot I'm excited about because the croissant that they presented me with was so perfectly shaped, surely it's equally as good as it looks.
So we're in the kitchen of the newest bakery in town called La Panifacture. It's definitely a local spot, and I love this, guys. I think that everything that they do is perfectly executed with a lot of flavor.
This is exactly how I think a croissant should look. Starts thick and it tapers perfectly. Boom, boom, like a stair step all the way down, even on both sides. Even the tails are almost identical in size. The layering is very distinct. The browning, it's dark. The bottom, dark. And then of course there's that nice sort of age on the dough. You can smell the fermentation on it. The overall flavor is even butter, even fermentation. I really like this croissant. I definitely would put this on my go-to list.
This is an excellent croissant, but it wasn't quite as wispy crispy. Immediately melt in your mouth. A little too chewy. The flavors were there. It was nice. A great croissant. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. We move on to Frappe. You see, this one I wouldn't have even thought there was a croissant here, except they have the craziest reinvention I've seen. It is quite literally a croissant that they've then hollowed into a cup filled with hot chocolate and topped with whipped cream. I mean, honestly, this might win reinvention.
So there are a lot of bakeries in Paris that have taken the croissant to another level. Frappe is one of them.
I've never seen this before. I think it's very innovative and fun. You get multiple experiences. You get the hot chocolate eating experience. Once you're done with the hot chocolate, got a little whipped cream. But if you split it open, you've still got hot chocolate on the inside. And then you get to eat your cup. Oh, it's really good. You're getting two kinds of chocolate. You're getting semi-soft, solid chocolate on the inside, but then you have that nice light hot chocolate kind of combining with that, creating its own unique texture. The crunch from the outside is caramelized, a little bit sweet, a little bit salty. Definitely this is a indulgence.
The viennoiserie on the croissant was really, really, really good, but the chocolate's so overwhelming, you don't really get to love and enjoy that beautiful croissant. I'd say the croissant itself, an 8 out of 10, but the two combined turned it into a 7 out of 10 for me.
One of the more unique experiences we've had thus far. We have many more to go. Moving on.
Next up is TikTok's global most famous croissant in human history, the Crookie. Invented by chef Stéphane Louvard. Look how cute he is, come on. And his artisan bakery, Maison Louvard, it's a beautiful union of chocolate chip cookie and properly made croissant. You can imagine the French seeing this and their brains probably just about floated into the air and exploded like a firework on 4th of July. Because this is almost like a disrespect to traditionality, but you guys know I like that. And thanks to TikTok, they now sell up to 3,000 of these a day. So whether you think it's a gimmick or not, we're tasting it to see where it lands.
Wow, so balanced, it's not overbearing. Obviously the croissant is excellent as it is, but the cookie is kind of an important element here. It's half the flavor, and they made a dough that is buttery, but it's not overly buttery, and it's actually not very sweet. It is sweet, but not like a typical chocolate chip cookie. When an American thinks of like a cookie, they think very sweet, sort of chocolate, and that's kind of it. What really makes this shine, it's not the normal chocolate chip. You're getting chocolate notes that are fruity. There's floral notes mixed in with this cookie. It's beautifully simple. It's understandable by all. Anyone can enjoy this. This was unbelievable. Also, chocolate chip cookies happen to be one of my favorite desserts of all time.
Wow, this blew my mind, truly. It felt brand new yet familiar while being extremely exciting to eat. It was intense with the cookie flavor, but you didn't lose the beauty of the croissant behind the cookie. I love the fact that they didn't give up quality. They used the highest quality chocolate on earth. They took a cookie, turned it to the maximum using the best ingredients in the world, made a beautifully traditional, properly executed croissant, and combined the two. So much layering of work here. No pun on the layers, by the way. This earns a potentially insurmountable 9.1 out of 10, making it our new reinvention leader. Well earned. We're a lot of croissants in, but we might have our reinvention winner. Except there's one last one that could dethrone it. The margarita croissant at Breguet. Yes, margarita like pizza, but croissant.
Oh, I love that. You're now transitioning to a totally different flavor you would never expect to be with a croissant, and it works really well. Obviously, you have that buttery, rich, flaky croissant, but you also have this nice tartness from the tomato sauce that helps cut the richness, the freshness from the mozzarella, which just adds more depth to the overall flavor. I actually usually don't like oregano on pizza, but it works really well here because I think you have that to add some more freshness to the overall flavor that's already so rich. This is a really well executed savory reinvention. It might be my favorite. We'll find out.
If you had to choose between a croissant margarita and a pizza margarita?
The Italians are watching.
They really are mastering the reinvention here. I mean, this is truly like a new experience, both visually and taste-wise. The final decision for our reinvention category. Maison Louvard's Crookie leads with a 9.1, so we're gonna need a minimum of a 9.2, which I've given very few of those in my life. But the margarita was a big surprise with an 8.9 out of 10. Very delicious. I'll definitely be going back. That means Maison Louvard officially wins our reinvention category, putting that one to a close with a 9.1. It's hard to ignore the marriage of a perfectly baked chocolate chip cookie with some of the world's finest chocolate on a properly produced croissant. Now we need to finish our ultimate quest. We currently have Ritz Le Comptoir as our lead for best overall croissant at 9.1, and it really impressed me, truly. But we're moving on to something that could possibly dethrone it. The most anticipated bakery / pastry shop possibly in the world, Cedric Grolet. He might be the biggest name in pastry that we've ever seen. So surely his croissant will live up, right?
The honeycomb structure on the inside looks immaculate. I smell the butter, but it's not as buttery as I expected. And for some reason, like, It's not as crisp as I thought it would be for fresh baked. We had older ones that were crispier than this.
As for the shape, I think this is really sort of like a new wave of croissant making, just like tiny and round.
The weird thing is I'm not tasting that much butter. It does taste good. Like, this is a good croissant. It is seasoned nicely. I like Cedric Grolet. I think the work he's doing is beautiful. I've always had respect for the stuff that he's done. That said, I'm a little bit underwhelmed, and maybe it's because I was so excited to get it. One of the most beautiful croissants I think we have seen, but the flavor doesn't match it. I mean, I'm sure his pastries are absolutely excellent. It's just, we're here for croissants, and I will say that if you go into that shop, 75% of the shop is filled with fresh baked croissants, not pastry, which tells me that they're selling a lot of croissants. That means that that's a big part of their business. Ultimately, my goal is to recommend you the very best croissants that you can find in Paris. Is it worth it to wait in the rain or wait in general in a very, very long line for this croissant? I feel that I would rather steer you a different direction to hopefully some of the other higher rated ones. But if you did want to sit in that line, you probably want to wait for the pastries.
Right? Now, to prove this point, let's try the pastry cream and chocolate filled pan suisse for comparison.
Way better than the plain croissant. The plain croissant doesn't stand really that well on its own two legs. When you look at it, it looks like a 10 out of 10. But when you taste it, it's closer to like a 6.5 maybe. But this is immaculate. So let's move on.
So wait, if Cedric Grolet can't win this, and we have a lead, then we can only give a winner one more chance. A local legend named Boulogne. And they're doing something unthinkable with a croissant. Everything a traditional all-butter croissant should have. So what's the real difference?
This is our final spot. She's brought me here to Boulogne.
Which comes from Boulangerie où l'on mange. And this is a bakery and buffet that was opened by Julien Debouy, another very famous chef and a former Top Chef candidate. And you are going to taste the cubic croissant, like a square croissant.
You want to take the first one?
Oh wow, oh my God. It's crisp, it's so light. It's like, oh! I don't even know where to begin. Whoa. This is like the best of every world. Texturally, literally perfect. Not just because it's crunchy. This is very light. It's crisp. It immediately melts in your mouth, the crisp exterior. And then the inside is so light, so fluffy. The butter perfumes your whole mouth in an amazing way because there's so much air in here. It's not so light that it totally melts. You have some time to chew.
Yeah.
So it has both the tenderness, but also the chew that I like. It has the flavor and both the airiness that I like. It's also seasoned really well, the salt level. I've eaten 10, 20, 30, 40 croissants. This one, I'm almost done. Look how much I ate. If I want to eat this much of it, this is really excellent. I mean, it's beyond good. Honestly, impeccable work. Really, truly excellent.
Thank you very much.
It's perfect.
You are talking about me or the croissant?
Our final spot. But I have a really hard decision. Is this traditional croissant, but in the shape of a cube, really gonna be worthy of even a podium spot? I mean, they're going out on a limb here. All the passion, the creativity, and a lot of butter I've experienced today, it all comes down to this.
We've visited over 20 places, saying many of them were great, slight differentiations. This not only being the last stop, but it is the stop that made me stop in my tracks. It doesn't really matter to me the shape, honestly. I think that this is the best croissant I've had, period.
Borderline a reinvention, but it ultimately was just a different shape, which ended up leveraging all of the greatest qualities of a croissant, putting our final spot as the ultimate winner with a 9.3 out of 10, an almost unheard of ranking, something I very rarely give. This means Boulogne also takes the local legends crown. The Crookie at Maison Louvard wins the reinvention category over Boulangerie Michelak with their pretzel croissant, Empanade's raspberry croissant. All incredible, impeccable bites of food, and winning by only a few points, so you know, they're hypothetically all worth visiting. And of course, our winner for the star category, Ritz Le Comptoir with Francois Perret with his tubular all-butter croissant. I want to be really clear here. I've been eating croissants all day. I don't want to eat them anymore. And this being the last one, I was still excited to eat after probably what was 3 to 4 pounds of butter and dough in my body. To me, that deserves the win.
All the places were wonderful, and you should visit as many as you can. I would not recommend doing what I did. I don't feel good, but I would come back here no matter how I felt, because this was at my #1 spot in comparison to everywhere else we went. So come visit Paris. This should probably be your first stop, and check out the other places along the way. And I also want to give a big shout out to Adriana and Eating Europe. They were the ones that made this whole tour possible. They helped assemble all these places for us. They do trips all over Europe, and so if you want to join them, be sure to check them out. We'll have a link in the description if you want to go. If you're visiting Paris, they're doing a breakfast tour. Bye, love you, subscribe. Why did it take this long to find the best one? Why couldn't we have found it sooner? What's the story behind this? Whose heart got broken in Paris? Oh, well, anyway.